Hey, it's A Humble Collector here, and today's video we're going to take a look at the funeral mailer for Karl Heindl. So before we get started here, this is an SS card, and not only is it an SS card, but we're going to be talking about some war crimes that occurred in Italy. So I'm going to be translating the card verbatim. I do not condone or agree with the writing on the card, but I think it adds important context because this is how the family was choosing to speak about the individual that's mentioned. So going in here, the card has another one of those really cool lace-like borders that we've seen on a few of the other ones recently. All of them by the same printer here, Sommer of St. Polten. And then going to the text itself, bowed down by the deepest pain, we announce the sad news that our dearly beloved, unforgettable son, brother, brother-in-law, uncle, and nephew, Karl Heindl, SS Sturmmann, motorcycle messenger in an SS Panzer Division, farmer's son in Unrechtreisen by St. Augid on the Novalda in Austria, who died a heroic death on September 10th, 1944, at the age of 20 in an air raid on St. Lucia near Carrara, Italy. He was buried with soldierly honors in the Hero Cemetery in Rigliano by Carrara. The Requiem Mass will be held on Monday, October 23rd at 8:45 a.m. in the parish church of St. Augid on the Novalda. And then we can see this was sent from St. Augid on the Novalda in October of 1944 by Hermann Zockling and Johann Greuss, his brother-in-laws, Josephine Zockling, born Heindl, Rosa Greuss, born Heindl, Johanna, Anna, Maria, Poldi, Peter, and Luisa Heindl, his siblings, his brother Hans Heindl, missing, and Johann and Susanna Heindl, his parents. Now, what's interesting here, obviously we see that Karl came from a very large family. His brother Hans is missing at this point. As it says right there, Hans Heindl vermisst. And before we talk about Karl, I did try looking for Hans, and unfortunately there's no information. So, as has unfortunately been the case in a lot of these cards, Hans is still missing in action 80 plus years later now with really no additional information on what happened to him. Now, I was not able to find a casualty record for Karl. However, I did find a hit for him on Volksbund. He was born on June 10th, 1925, and Volksbund lists him as a Schütze, which is basically the lowest level rifleman. So, doesn't quite match him being an SS Sturmmann, because that's like the next step up in the military hierarchy there. But, you know, sometimes you see small disconnects like that in the record. And according to Volksbund, he is buried in the Kostromano Military Cemetery, Block 5, grave 1106. Now, like I said, I couldn't find a casualty record for Karl, but based off the reference to Carrara, which, by the way, this really threw me off when I first started looking at this card. St. Lucia by Carrara. Do you see how similar the L and the C are there? This is a very bad choice in font. This is normally the font on the death cards doesn't mess me up, but in this time it did. Like, I actually filmed this video, realized I had in my notes Larara, and it wasn't until I was actually editing it that I realized I was wrong, and now I'm back here refilming it because I figured that I needed to correct that. Now, there was an SS unit serving near Carrara at the time of Karl's death. That would be the 16th SS Panzer Grenadier Division, Reichsfuhrer SS. And they're the only unit I'm aware of that was in that area, so I'm assuming Karl was attached to them. Now, the 16th SS Panzer Grenadier Division committed a lot of war crimes in Italy. In the month of August alone, elements of the division were responsible for massacres at Sant'Anna di Stazzema, San Terenzo Monti, and Vinca. And after Karl's death, they would be responsible for the Marzabotto massacre, where about 770 people were killed. And that might come as a surprise to some people because, you know, obviously Italy was an Axis power. They were assisting Germany in their war in Europe and North Africa. But, you know, of course, in 1943, specifically September 8th, Italy actually signed a separate armistice with the Allies and attempted to surrender. They didn't want to fight anymore. And at that point, pretty much overnight, the Germans took over Italy and, you know, implemented martial law. They looked at the Italian people as basically traitors at that point. They tried to sell them out to the Allies. And so as a result, you see a lot of resentment toward the Italians, and then that boils over into these massacres. And the 16th SS, which I believe Karl was a part of, along with the Hermann Goering Panzer Division, or Luftwaffe Panzer Division, apparently were responsible for a huge chunk. Like, just those two divisions were responsible for a large amount of the massacres that occurred in Italy through the remainder of the war. And Karl, you know, he was a motorcycle messenger. He might not have necessarily been involved in these massacres directly, but he would certainly have been aware of them. I mean, if he's transmitting information between units in the area, he's going to be picking up on these rumors. He's going to hear guys talking about it. So definitely a bit of a heavier card than ones we normally look at, for sure. So yeah, overall, unfortunately, like I said, we didn't find a casualty record. I think we figure out his unit based off the location, but I'd be curious what you guys think down below. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see y'all again very soon.